sports fans out there, out of all the sports metaphors I could make this bike stealing situation into, from like softball, baseball, basketball, or even dodgeball, for example, I'm gonna pick baseball here because it's the easiest I can remember from my brain. Because I wanted to try out basketball, but it was a little difficult for that. But to personify the last parts of this situation, think of that moment in the situation 2 days ago, when after the whole situation itself, think of it as an entire baseball game by itself. I'm the batter since I was the one who's being talked to. It's been a back and forth talking and coercion, pure verbal terms at this point, for that entire point for like an hour. But the minute they said, they will kill us if you don't give us $100, point blank. That is a pitch thrown to me that is absolutely dangerous. And instead of staying, despite the fact that this could just be, in metaphor, a ground ball, I decided as a batter, we're going to go anyway. We hit this ball, we don't know if this is going to be a home run or not, just to run after that and at bats, and to cross what I call the most psychologically threatening zone, what I call the three bases presented to me. The first base is the basic safety base. Is more than once blurted that out. We had to pass that first base because we know that staying at that same Walmart is going to be pretty dangerous. And if they had been armed, this would have been pretty worse. And it's good we did not stay. The second base are the psychological bases. I'd say that these are from my parents, specifically my dad, who criticized me to stay at the Walmart, and he put massive criticism upon me for not doing that. And the rest of my hysteria from my mom and sister telling me that I'm a bad person and the police won't do much. And most importantly, the second base is the most draining one emotionally here because number one, my phone battery at that time was getting drained because of them constantly calling me, and most importantly, number two is that they were speaking from a moment of comfort. I was running from a moment of danger. But second base here is the most psychologically, I'd say, threatening one. And most importantly, the third base is the possibility base right here. Is that those people either following me or ambushing me as I was headed straight down toward that local department. That was the most riskiest base that I passed because that is a direct looming threat, as I would say. But much to our luck, no followings occurred in that 40-minute walk-in. Picture it as a dark stadium. There isn't social lighting, unlike me talking to other people in school, for example. There are metaphorical stadium lights, but there isn't social lighting here at all, and or let alone a regular place. No cover, but only whatever that we have with us in this moment. And I ran all those bases, risking almost everything. And I made it back to home plate, which was the PD, right on time, before I could get picked up, before I could be ambushed, before I could let my phone battery die. And the thing is, I was the only one playing on the team today, so most were in the dugouts here, grounded in metaphor. And that's the first 40 minutes of passing all these three bases or thoughts I had that could grant numbness of to which fueled me. But I kept going because, well, justice in obvious is way more important, and eventually it paid off after calls with the police information. But even after that, I believe that I made one of the most dangerous, in the metaphor, in the ballpark, home runs for justice because the other side, the defense, simply did not throw the ball back. But had they threw that ball back, that would have been complete, well, more than danger, so to speak, meaning they didn't follow us. Picture a dark baseball stadium. Broken lights, you're barely being illuminated. The crack of a bat, the crack of a ball. You see a person in team gear running through bases, despite that darkness. You linger in the audience, being one of the very few who are watching, hoping for that runner to not get tagged out. And luckily, they did not get tagged out, even amongst the darkness. And the point about the baseball metaphor here is for my sports fans to understand this situation, but when I batted that baseball, that last piece of conversation that was pitched toward me, I was betting that they would not follow us, even though this was an outfield ball and not a home run, but with a long throw, metaphorically. Had they followed us back, had they threw it back to home plate before we could reach it, and stopped me from reaching the station, that would have been worse, but we were on the lucky side today. And we filed the report, we got things in, and today we're on the good side of it. The investigation is now cooking. And I say this because this is absolutely dangerous because out of the metaphor at all, I could have been followed had these people been much worse. There could have been stuff happening, and much worse it could have been. And my parents' criticism may have drained me or my phone completely, stopping me from being able to enter the PD at all. It might have done worse. But thankfully, none of that happened to its full extent. And I'd say, guys, within this baseball metaphor, this is one of the most dangerous home runs that no one should ever try to attempt, whether one's item gets stolen or not. The fact that done this before GTA 6. I did this before I could even get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, before I even got a core friend group, before I even entered college. Filed this police report, filed all of this, we kept going, and it's just crazy stuff right here. Something that should only be repeated once. But beyond that metaphor that people might call me crazy for, guys, is that the good news is that as a result, the investigation after a few days is going excellent. I secured a number in rapid time yesterday. Since I am such a key figure in this investigation, I'm headed down to an office for reasons I cannot say again. But my presence regarding this, I'm going to be headed there. But nonetheless, I still find it pretty sad that my family let me down amongst the report. But it's the most paradoxical thing here is that don't try this, guys, for anyone out there, is that me acting dumb and me doing this, talking to them like friends instead of like doing nothing, that is where I was able to catch so much evidence about them because they wanted that other $100 that I had on them. They kept blurting out things. They kept doing things. They kept wanting to catch themselves that extra $100, which they just incriminated themselves on. This could be a part of a bigger crime ring. So, absolutely. Well, all I can say is this is just crazy.